Are you one of the 150,000 people who have watched my coverage of Kendrick at the Super Bowl? If so, don't click off. Just listen. I'm going to be reviewing an album, and you might not think it's for you. It's by this sort of French EDM, hyper-pop adjacent, underwater singer named Oklou. The album's called Choke Enough. And you might think, that's not for me. I don't like any of that stuff. I just like it when Skye talks about hip-hop and talks about this. But let me just give you a 2 minute and like a 2.5 minute piece of homework. And if you do the homework and it's not for you, you just go away. It's all right. Check me on the next one. But I think everybody on planet Earth should at least hear the song Obvious. Okay, so I'll include a link to it up here. You can leave this video and go listen to Obvious and then just come back. And if it's not for you, that's totally cool. But what I think you're going to hear is you're going to hear the layers and layers of mystery. You're going to hear the way that it's able to construct a beat that makes you want to nod your head so hard it falls off without any drums. It just gets you so hard in this groove, and it's ethereal, and it's like it almost sounds like imperial or courtly with these trumpets, and it's like warm and cold at the same time, and it works as the single song. And as you will see, if you listen to the rest of this video, you'll see it actually fits into the context of the entire album. It is like one of my favorite songs of the year. It is just like transforming the way that I live my daily life, because I just have these little so obvious. So check it out, okay? Did you check it out? Did you like it? No? That's cool. But I think you did. And this is the thing. In this channel, I talk mostly about rap music because I think most of the good art that's being made out there right now is rap music. But it's about human creation. It's about human creativity, and I'm just fascinated in seeing it in all the different forms. So I did not know Oklou at all. As a matter of fact, up until about 45 minutes ago, I just called her Oklou, because that's what I thought her name was, you know? I watched a review by someone named Paper Boyfriend. It's a very good video. It's like a 10-minute video about how this is a perfect first album. I really enjoyed the framing device. It was nice. It was like a lesser, someone who has under 10,000 subs, but did some really great work, and he was pronouncing it Oklou, and that was correct. And so I didn't know anything about her, except that a bunch of people who are in my comments are saying, Skye, you got to review Oklou, you got to review her, you got to review her. So, one of the first things I do is I look up the production, and is she some kind of pop in diva? Is she some kind of what is she? Okay, so basically every song is produced by someone named Casey MQ and Oklou herself, which is very cool. I really like it when pop stars produce themselves as well. But then some of the songs are produced by Danny Harl, and some of the songs are produced by A.G. Cook, which means you can fold in to this little mix the chefs behind Caroline Polachek and Tremol, Dua Lipa, Charlie XCX, all these great, what I call pop indivas, which are like indie pop divas. It's a term I came up with. But while I was listening to this, in theory, you say this is Polachek meets XCX, you'd think this has just got to be hyper-pop, And it is. And it isn't. And that's where I started, being a real music critic and started trying to define things and put them into boxes, because that's what you like, right? You don't go to music crickets to find things that you enjoy. You just want them to tell you what things are. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, it's got the pop and diva, it's got the vocal distortions, it's got these catchy rhythms, it has a certain kind of attacking feel. It plays with the forms of pop. There's some nostalgic themes in there. The lyrics are formed but also not fully. It really has a lot of the elements of hyperpop that you might expect, but it's not hyper. It's like the opposite of hyper. I mean, you listened to Obvious, you did your homework, you went on Brightspace, you found it under content, you know what that was. It's not hyper. It's like the opposite of hyper. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to come up with some kind of new term. Here it comes. Calm hyper pop. Sedated hyper pop. So I did what any real deal intellectual does. I just typed into Google, what's the opposite of hyper? Okay? Hypo. Like hypothermia. That's where your body is way under the therma that it needs to be. Hypodermic needles go under the dermis, under the skin. It's Hypo-Pop. So that's the term I came up with, which is like, it's like hyper-pop, but it's kind of under that. Everything feels kind of sleepy, kind of underwater. It's not even sleepy. It's just there's some kind of atmosphere to this music that, like that song Obvious, it gets under your skin, actually. It's hypodermic itself. It gets under your skin. I'm not going to start singing Hey Jude, but I'm tempted to. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor. And she is French, so she loses 10 points for not singing in French. Maybe she and Lauren Oder would do an album together where they both sing in French, and that would just make me the happiest music critic in the world. She lives in London, which I guess makes sense, but she's from Poitiers. And I've in the stuff I've read about her, they kind of like look down on Poitiers. But as somebody who loves French history, Poitiers is no joke. I mean, that's the place in 732 that old Charlie Hammer, Charles Martel, pushed back the forces from the Arab lands, and that's part of the reason that Islam did not spread through the rest of France. Of course, it's been co-opted by anti-Islamic forces for a long time, but it was still an important battle. And if you want something on the other side, the French got their asses kicked by the British in 1356. Their king was taken hostage, okay? That's how bad they lost. Like, it's one of the lowest points in, like, Franco-English history. And, like, the mistress of Henry II, Diane de Poitiers, like, she's in all these great Renaissance paintings and got her boobs out and everything, just a very famous beauty of all time. I mean, Michel Foucault was born in Poitiers, and my man, probably the person who's done more to alter the way that I think about human existence, Francois Rabelais. I read this book when I was like 20 years old, and it literally changed the way that I understood existence. That's what Francois Rabelais did, and he's from Poitiers. So, let's not treat it like it's Nowheresville, okay? Nowheresville in a lot of places in Europe is still quite important. And Descartes went to college there, but that's less important, I think. That was a Descartes joke. Tell me in the comments if you get it. Before I get to Obvious, so I've just described Obvious briefly. I sort of see this album as the Obvious album because it feels like everything leads to and from that song. But let's start off with the first track, Endless, produced by Danny Harle. Again, the Dua Lipa. This happens sometimes. The power goes out because I lose power. But everyone says the light looks better like this anyways. You tell me. Is it true? Does the light look better? Do I look less freaky? How are the dogs back there? How's your mom doing? Okay. Starts off with this like Morse code style percussion. Wait, can I get this this seems really, is it really dark in here or is this cool? Is this cool? I'm just gonna have to keep doing it because it has been too hard to record even this quick video this week. That's why I was so thankful for the Super Bowl because that allowed me to do 2 videos without having to think too hard. Not like this. Anyway, starts off with this kind of like Morse code percussion, this faraway gauzy sound just between these 2 notes and these lyrics. Anyway, what's the name of your sheep again? You make it feel like yesterday. Can you find a way to count me in? I don't know if this is supposed to be a part of some kind of pastoral tradition, like literal pastoral, as in like the actual pastures. There's this whole tradition of La Bergère, the beautiful shepherdess girl who people fall in love with. I don't know if that's what this is supposed to be, but I'm a French professor, so I'm going to French professor all over this album whenever I see it. And just this great strong keyboard in the back, and then there's a sound in the back that I'm pretty sure, and my dogs back there might have a nightmare. There's a little sound in the back that's like, yep, yep, yep. I'm pretty sure. And if you like this song, I'm going to ruin it for you for the rest of your life, okay? The sound in the background is the sound of a dog having a nightmare. If you've ever heard a dog having a nightmare, it's this weird sound. That's what it is. Beautiful lyrics here. Is the endless still unbound, or am I just different now? They're very sort of EDM lyrics, like they have a sort of grandness to them that's also kind of vague and somewhat mystical. And I think this is a good example of that. Next song is called Thank You for Recording. This is by A.G. Cook. This is Brat last year, this year. these bloopy synths that are, and these like this little flute, like this album, even though the album is so, can be lugubrious at times, can feel very dark and sort of murky. It has these bright tones sometimes. On this song, it has these kind of flutes. Quite often, it'll have these little sort of like trumpety sounds. And just, I don't know what this is. It seems to me like this is legitimately just saying thank you for recording. Like, thank you for my life. Thank you for recording me. That's how it feels. It feels like this sort of thankfulness for that. Then we get to the song Family and Friends with these mallet sounds that are arpeggiated, and she sings high and descends. The vocal production. Okay, this is what I wrote. So let's see if I can figure it out. The vocal production, exclamation point Z, I assume I meant the vocal production, is super sharp and clear, and then warped, smudged at the end. So sometimes she'll have these lines, and her voice is just so clear. By the way, as a language professor, she basically doesn't have an accent. It's very impressive. It just smudges at the end, just at the end of the phrase. It's just a little imperfection, you know, a little moosh, you know. There's an urgency to this melody. There's this whole verse that reminds me a lot, actually, of the "I think about it all the time. I bang about a time. I'm never gonna have a baby unless I have a baby." You know that song off of Brat? I think I nailed the lyrics. Oh my God, did I just get Charlie XCX fans mad at me? Hey, I think about it all the time. If I ever cradle my belly, stepping into the fantasy, will I want to go back in time to the infinite center in the womb of my mother? If is the chorus so loud? You know, parenthood is a very big thing that you think about more and more in your life as you get older. But I don't really know that because I had my first kid when I was like 27. So I was too young. But I'm sure I would have thought about it all the time if I didn't have a kid so young. And yeah, I also happen to have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old now. Okay, listen, I like having babies. At the end, there's these timbre. I keep using the word courtly. Now, I don't know if that's just because I have the image of Diane de Poitiers. There's a beautiful painting. Please, you know what? I'm going to put the painting in my thumbnail just so you can see it. It's Diane Aubin by Henri Clouzet, I believe is the name. It's this famous French Renaissance painting of this woman in the bath, and it's kind of, anyway. So I always just think of this. Like, I know what Oklou looks like because she's on the cover, but like I haven't watched a ton of videos or whatever. So I mainly just see Diane de Poitiers singing these songs in my head. What are you gonna do? But anyways, I get a lot of courtly feelings in here, like the tambourines here. You know, there's like your sort of standard tambourine sound, and then this is more like your marching, your Wicker Man tambourine, you know, for like going around in a circle around the maypole while you're dancing la carmagnole, you know, it's just I'm deep in my French bag. And this leads perfectly into Obvious, with that church-like faraway little lilting melody and the pitched up voice, the super duper hyper-pop, you know, but it's not hyper-pop, it's hypo-pop. And then when the singing comes in, it's backwards. It's all mixed up, but it's still hypo-pop. And that arpeggiated synthesizer that's just so funky. It's almost like dance hall reggae, the feeling. And then that little high courtly trumpet comes in. And then the low bass in the second verse, and you're so happy it's back. This song is 2.5 minutes long, and it lasts a day when you listen to it. Speak louder than me, I know you will. There's like the secondary voice that comes in, and then after the second verse, an even more triumphant style trumpet comes in, and then the bridge is just straight ass pop. Not ass pop. I'm not creating a new genre called ass pop. I'm only creating hypo-pop. However, if anyone out there wants to make ass pop, you have permission to sample my voice to make it a thing. It could be a good genre now that I think about it. I don't know. Anyways, tell me in the future if I just created ass pop. But going back to the hypo-pop theme, this is just a straight pop bridge. It's a straight pop bridge, but the way that it's produced, this wonderful production, and this isn't going to Danny Harrell, this isn't going to A.G. Cook, this is just these two, the two primary producers of this album making this song. and the voices wash over, and then it comes back to the outro, and you're just back into that groove. And the lyrics in isolation are a good example of the lyrics. I'm going to spend more time on the song because I like it so much. All the words that you say, one actor in a play, speak louder than me, I know you will. This feels to me like this is like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm projecting, right? Because I read on Lyric Genius, someone's like, this is clearly about capitalism. I guess. I mean, I can see that. So I read this as being from a perspective of a woman who is used to being talked over by men. That's how this feels to me, but that's just my interpretation. Speak louder than me, I know you will, it's obvious. So it feels to me like that's just how it often is, and I need to apologize to all women out there. I used to talk over women all the time. The mansplaining, I used to do it. Interrupting, I used to do it. I was never really aware of doing it. You know, I was just socialized by patriarchy as well, so I didn't mean to do it, but I absolutely did it up until it was explained to me what it was, and then I stopped doing it. Which is why you can never let those pig fuckers tell you not to talk about this stuff. It's important that you understand how patriarchy works so that you can stop being a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't it be nice to not be a jerk? I'm just saying. Anyways, so I'm sure someone could have written a song like this about me when I was 25 years old. Flowers grew quietly, forces and everything speak louder than me. So here's maybe a different reading, you know, forces and everything. This is that more mystical side. Maybe this is about actual internal forces. And now the whole song has changed its meaning as opposed to being about patriarchy and my whole thing. And I think I swore again in my videos. I try not to swear too much because I'm a professor and I want you to take me seriously, but also I'm a fun guy. Fun guys swear. So maybe this is actually a more metaphysical song. It's about these forces that speak louder. So maybe it's actually talking about God. You've got pretty much everything you need to get by. You get pretty lost when you try to figure it out. I don't know what it is. I know I can read the song in either way, but I'm recording this now, and the second that I stop recording this, I'm going to go listen to this song. That's how much I like this song. And it leads perfectly into the next song. ICT. That's what I'm saying. This album feels like it flows into and out of this one song. ICT, produced by A.G. Cook. A gorgeous hi-hat, high trumpet. Again, a kind of courtly trumpet happening here. And it was a da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and a little vocoder sound. The words are just spoken. And I swear to God, there's usually in most software to record on your computer, there's the metronome that you can have. It can either be tick, 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 or it can be the woodblock. Straight up George Maharis, you know, just tick, tick, tick. And I think it's the metronome woodblock in the back here. And the voice is just altered and going nuts. And this is that nostalgia theme. Strawberry Dancer, Vanilla Summer, Driver Pullover, Ice Cream Truck. I remember ice cream trucks. We're talking chocolate eclairs and strawberry shortcakes, bomb pops. You know, the best day of my life was when they had Garbage Pail Kids in the ice cream truck. Anyways, statistically, you're younger than me. You don't even know what a Garbage Pail Kid is. I apologize. Ask your parents. Choke enough. I get the sense this is like when you're not a native speaker, you sometimes find fun things about other languages just because you have an abstraction. So that's what I think this is. I think this is like close enough and choke enough. And I imagine it's just her hearing it being like, oh, those are kind of similar words. Blooping up and down arpeggios, modulates up and then modulates back down. Her voice is so far away. It's like there's a party in the next room. And she said in some interview that's on Genius, this is about what we do in order to feel alive. I'll crash this car to take a photo. Hey, young people, just grow up, okay? I promise it gets better. It's one of my main things I try to tell you, you young people. Being young sucks. I know it's cool because you don't have debt or you have less debt. You might have less debt. You probably aren't like tethered down. You can travel more. That's great. But middle age is awesome. It's great. You don't ever want to crash a car to take a photo. Because if you crash a car, you do have to take a photo and send it to your insurance agent. And they have to figure out how much they're going to reimburse you. Next song is called parentheses, semicolon, accent aigu, and then a bunch of cymbals. Instrumental, nice little break here. Take Me by the Hand, featuring Blady. What the hell? Is this why you all wanted me to review this? So if you don't know, I've reviewed a lot of Blady's albums, and I know you're typing Skye. It's pronounced Blade. I was told by Drainers that it's okay to say Blady because he said in one song that some people call him Blady, and if he didn't want to be have his name pronounced like it was by Jerry Lewis, ask your grandparents, by Jerry Lewis, then he wouldn't have called himself Blady. However much Blady charges for a feature, he should charge double because his fans are so into him that I bet just this one song like doubled the listening to this entire album because he doesn't do that many features. And I'm like not like a Blady super fan, but I like everything I've reviewed. I enjoy talking about his music. I enjoy thinking about it, you know? And he's great on here, but it's just wow, what a feature. What a perfect get. Anyways, I don't know how to speak Swedish, so I could not be his agent. I only know how to say thank you for the ring, but apparently the way I say it, it sounds like I'm saying thank you for the anus ring. Tack för ringen. I don't know if that's part of ass pop. Whenever the lights go out, I get weird. I don't know I don't know what else to say. I just get in a weird mood. But you're still with me, and I don't edit, so you just gotta ride with me, because I just don't edit. I don't know how she makes these sounds sound so good. The production is just so strong on here. Like, this is the song I was listening to it right before recording. And before even the Blady part, I was like, oh my God. If I didn't have to keep reviewing all these different albums, because, you know, I have to review, like, well, I choose to review, like, 20 albums a month, I'm like, oh my God, I would get so into this album. I can just feel it. I bet you're there. If you're watching this, how far are we into this video right now? 21 minutes in. I bet you're so into this album, and I totally get it on this song. And I really enjoy Blady on here as well. And I love this bridge. It's just so precious and sweet. And could she please work with Lauren Oder? I think they would work so well together. They could work in French or in English. I don't really care. Then we get to the song Plague Dogs, which has a little helicopter sound, and she's apparently like sampling like a thing she saw on the news, and there's a movie from the 80s. I don't know. I'm excited. Go to Genius, read the description. I'm not going to read it to you, all right? It's this very long thing. Forces is like a little nothing sound effect song. Harvest Skye features Underscores. Underscores is back there. Another great guest appearance. Sometimes, depending on who you get to be your guest appearance, it can be like guaranteed attention, because if Underscores is working with you, if Blady is working with you, that's saying something about you. This maybe is the catchiest melody. Again, this Hypo-Pop thing. It's poppy because it's still, like, especially the production on this song, and it's kind of catchy and playing with those forms, but it's still kind of underwater. I don't know how she does it. I was listening to this song today when I was cooking. So if you don't know, I cook a fair amount in my house. My wife is the real chef, but sometimes she will ratatouille me. So she's upstairs feeding the 6-month-old, and she'll just text me, and I'll be like, like Remy, and I'll just be moving around the kitchen and doing whatever she tells me to do. So I made pasta asciutta today. It was very nice. I was making that today. It's basically just meat sauce pasta, but I'll say it in Italian so you think it's cool. It's actually from Dalmatia. Doesn't matter. What does matter is this song is the dancing in the kitchen song. That is a real test. This album, when I'm talking about Hypo-Pop, when I'm talking about the idea of it being underwater and far away and like Hyper-Pop, but kind of tuned down. You know what it was? That guy, Paper Boyfriend, he used the term PC music on dark mode, which I got to check out that guy's stuff. That's a really good term right there. That's a really cool way to phrase it. Anyways, so this kind of downbeat music, hearing this, like I was dancing around, I was moving. It's this Imperial chorus. Want to come back. The last two tracks had these weird, like, drums all of a sudden are up there. The drums weren't there. Now the drums are there. Why are there drums there now? I don't know. More like kind of 90s production, sort of reminded me of Enigma from the 90s. Cool, 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 cool. I love the idea of I want to come back, because it seems like it's about wanting to go back, probably home to Poitiers, probably leaving London. It's got to be fairly alienating coming from Poitiers, which, despite the fact, it's such an important city in history, it's a pretty small place. From from London. That's pretty alienating. But she doesn't want to come back. She wants to come back. That's a very nice difference. Reminds me of an argument I used to have with my girlfriend at the time. We'd moved in, and she said, "Skye, I don't want you to do the dishes. I want you to want to do the dishes." I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I'll do the dishes. I don't think I want to do the dishes. Like you can't, that's how it is now. Like I'm so ADHD, I don't ever close a drawer. Ever. I never want to close a drawer. If you see a closed drawer, that's because I force myself to do it. I will never want to close a drawer. And the last song is called Blade Bird. I don't think it's Blade E Bird, it's just Blade Bird. And then this is like the most poppy song on the whole album. It's got these kind of exotic birds in the background, tight pulsing drums again. And the themes, the lyrics are much more straightforward. The rest of the album is, again, it's sort of about like forces and these feelings. Whereas this is like, my love is a bird and I'm a cage and real kind of young people stuff, It sucks being young. But it's the most kind of explicitly pop song. Lyrics come through about being hurt and being in love again. And it's great. So there you go. There's my review. Thank you to all you who suggested I review it. I apologize for the weird lighting. Feel free to tell me in the comments, actually, it looks better without the extra light. I'm looking at it now. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. Hey, Toby. You want to say hi? You want to say hi, Toby? Yeah. And there's Bo. Yesterday, I picked him up from the vet. And it was in a snowstorm and a blizzard, and he was still hurt from the anesthesia, so he was going the whole way home. So I had to drive for like 45 minutes in a snowstorm with this dog whining, and I just want him to feel good, and he feels better now, so that's good. I think I just earned your like and like bucket and smashing it. All right, till next time. You already did the homework. It was on Brightspace. You did it. You listened to Obvious. How do I stop this thing? There's the camera.